On January 30th, 1933, Adolf Hitler assumed the position of Chancellor, marking the effective end of Germany's democratic system. The Nazi regime, driven by racist ideology and authoritarian principles, systematically dismantled fundamental rights and sought to establish a unified society under absolute leadership. The Third Reich rapidly transformed into a police state where arbitrary arrests and imprisonment became commonplace. Through sophisticated propaganda campaigns, the regime secured the backing of millions of German citizens, ultimately paving the way for systematic persecution, global conflict, and industrial-scale genocide. However, this destructive system did not operate solely through ideological conviction. It depended fundamentally on industrial capacity, production capabilities, and individuals willing to profit from it. Behind the machinery of Nazi Germany stood powerful industrialists who supplied the regime, financed its expansion, and exploited its victims. During the war, forced labor emerged as a cornerstone of the German economy, with hundreds of thousands subjected to brutal conditions in factories and mines. Among the most significant beneficiaries of this system was Friedrich Flick, who became one of the Nazi regime's largest financial backers and one of the wealthiest individuals globally. Friedrich Flick was born on July 10, 1883, in Ernsdorf, within the German Empire of that era. Following his secondary education, he completed an apprenticeship at a steelworks known as Bremer Hut. He subsequently fulfilled his military obligations and pursued studies at the Cologne Trade University. From an early stage, Flick demonstrated considerable aptitude for commerce. His academic focus encompassed corporate accounting, positioning him among the pioneering students who examined both business administration and economic theory. One of his influential instructors was Eugen Schmallenbach, a prominent figure in the field and creator of dynamic balance theory. Upon completing his studies in 1906, Flick returned to Bremer Hut armed with his business diploma, where he commenced his professional career. In May 1913, he married Marie Schuss, and the couple subsequently had 3 sons. Flick's ascent began in 1915 when he joined the board of directors at Charlottenhut Steelworks in Niederschelden, Western Germany. He gradually acquired shares in the enterprise. The First World War, 1914 to 1918, proved highly advantageous for Flick, as the rapid expansion of armaments production created substantial opportunities. As demand for coal and steel surged, his company evolved into a highly profitable venture. The conflict presented industrialists with opportunities to supply essential raw materials for weapons manufacturing, and Flick strategically positioned himself to capitalize on this demand. By the war's conclusion, he had established the foundations for a growing industrial conglomerate. Flick accumulated significant wealth during the Weimar Republic period, following the German Empire's collapse in 1918. Despite the prevailing instability and economic uncertainty, he pursued aggressive expansion and established major industrial enterprises in the coal and steel sectors. Through strategic acquisitions and investments, he strengthened his market position and became one of Germany's wealthiest industrialists. Nevertheless, the global economic crisis posed substantial challenges to his business empire. Many of his companies ceased dividend payments, and his financial position became increasingly precarious. In 1931, Flick managed to stabilize his situation by selling majority shares of Gelsenkirchener Bergwerks AG to Chancellor Heinrich Brüning's government at more than triple the market value. This transaction, later dubbed the Gelsenberg Affair, generated public scandal, not only for the inflated price, but also for Flick's political donations to multiple parties, from the SPD to the National Socialists, though he contributed significantly less to the latter. Flick made substantial donations to influential politicians, including Chancellor Brüning. Government officials collectively received 450,000 Reichsmark, approximately $2.5 million today, to support Paul von Hindenburg's 1932 presidential campaign. When a Nazi-friendly newspaper threatened in 1932 to expose Flick's involvement in the Gelsenberg Affair following the party's expected seizure of power, Flick sought closer alignment with the NSDAP. During a meeting with Heinrich Himmler, SS chief, Flick agreed that all future donations to the NSDAP would be channeled exclusively through the SS. By 1945, estimates suggest he had contributed over 7.65 million Reichsmark. These donations appear to have been motivated less by ideological conviction and more by a pragmatic desire to protect his business interests against any potential political outcome. Following Hitler's appointment as Chancellor on January 30th, 1933, Flick aggressively expanded into armaments production. He increased manufacturing capacity even before military demands required it, effectively pressuring the armed forces to place orders. In February 1933, Flick participated in a secret meeting with Hitler and leading industrialists, where the Chancellor outlined his policies and assured participants that property rights would remain protected. Flick became affiliated with Himmler's Circle of Friends, a group of German industrialists seeking to strengthen ties between the NSDAP and industry. He was also appointed to the Academy for German Law, an organization financed by industrialists tasked with implementing Nazi programs in legal and economic spheres. After the Nazi takeover, Flick swiftly reoriented his companies toward regime requirements, securing contracts for aircraft production, bombs, grenades, and ammunition. His enterprises benefited substantially from the Aryanization process, which forced Jewish business owners to sell their companies, often at fractions of their actual value. On May 1, 1937, Flick officially joined the NSDAP, and in 1938, he was designated a Wehrwirtschaftsführer, military economy leader. The Second World War commenced on September 1, 1939, with Nazi Germany's invasion of Poland. Flick's companies played an integral role in the regime's war effort. As the conflict progressed, the number of forced laborers increased steadily. By 1944, the Flick Group employed approximately 130,000 workers, roughly half of whom were forced laborers and concentration camp prisoners subjected to exploitation. In total, an estimated 80,000 to 100,000 forced laborers passed through his companies. Initially, as with many corporations, there was reluctance to employ foreign workers. This changed due to workforce shortages beginning in late 1939. From 1942 onward, the number of forced laborers was particularly high, especially in armaments and mining operations. During the war, tens of thousands of forced laborers, predominantly from Eastern Europe, and concentration camp prisoners worked in Flick's enterprises. More than 10,000 victims reportedly perished from malnutrition and brutal treatment. The conditions were notoriously harsh, as documented in official reports. A state inspection report from December 1942 described conditions at Essener Steinkohl AG, one of Flick's companies. Eastern workers are currently housed in prisoner-of-war barracks, with strong barbed wire and barred windows. Accommodation is insufficient. Strong, uncoordinated occupation. Electric mattresses have been removed, so they sleep only on wire mesh. Occasional beatings. Unanswered wage questions. Malnutrition is particularly severe. Friedrich Flick became one of the foremost beneficiaries of the Nazi armaments boom and wartime economy. The corporation's assets grew from 225 million Reichsmark in January 1933 to 953 million by 1943. During the war, Friedrich Flick KG evolved into a conglomerate of 132 companies generating annual turnover of 550 million Reichsmark. His personal fortune was estimated at 2 to 3 billion Reichsmark, equivalent to approximately $20 to $30 billion today. Despite his material success, the war brought personal tragedy. During Operation Barbarossa, the German invasion of the Soviet Union, Flick's middle son Rudolf, an army officer, died on June 28, 1941, in Ukraine at age 21 or 22. The Second World War concluded on May 8, 1945. On June 13, 1945, the 61-year-old Flick was arrested, and on April 19, 1947, he faced trial for war crimes. The Flick trial constituted one of the 12 subsequent Nuremberg proceedings against Nazi Germany's military, political, and economic leadership. Flick stood trial alongside 5 other senior directors of his corporation. Prosecution focused on the use of forced labor and the plundering of occupied territories. Flick and his senior manager Otto Steinbrink were additionally charged with membership in Himmler's Circle of Friends, whose members had contributed approximately 1 million Reichsmark to an account controlled by the SS chief. Flick refused to accept culpability, maintaining that nothing would convince them they were war criminals. Nevertheless, on December 22, 1947, the International Military Tribunal found him guilty of war crimes and crimes against humanity, sentencing him to 7 years imprisonment. Following the war, East Germany expropriated 75% of his former industrial empire. In West Germany, American and British authorities compelled him to dissolve the remaining portion of his companies. Flick was released from Landsberg prison in August 1950. During his incarceration, he had already begun planning his business resurgence. Known for avoiding public attention, he departed the prison in a large red Mercedes limousine and dismissed reporters with a curt, "Get out, I don't want to have anything to do with you." Upon release, he immediately commenced rebuilding the remainder of his coal and steel operations. Throughout the 1950s, Friedrich Flick once again ranked among West Germany's wealthiest individuals. He soon became the largest shareholder of Daimler-Benz, now Mercedes-Benz Group, and held significant stakes in companies including Feldmall, Dynamit Nobel, Puderos, and Krauss-Maffei. By 1955, he controlled approximately 100 companies with total turnover of about 8 billion DM. By the late 1960s, many considered him Germany's richest man. In the early 1960s, Flick designated his youngest son, Friedrich Karl Flick, as his successor. His eldest son, Otto Ernst Flick, contested this decision but ultimately failed and departed the company in 1966. That same year, following his wife Marie's death, Flick withdrew from active business operations due to declining health and relocated to Konstanz in southern Germany. When the 89-year-old industrialist died in Konstanz on July 20th, 1972, he was among the world's wealthiest individuals, leaving behind a vast industrial empire encompassing approximately 330 companies, roughly 300,000 employees, an annual turnover of approximately 18 billion Deutsche Mark.